is Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement or how to buy consulting services. You'll get tips on how to use consulting, buy consulting, and managing the consulting. And now your host, Helene Lafitte.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement. I am Helene, and today I will tell you when and why you should work with consultants. So last week, we concluded our series on the 6 levers to maximize your ROI from consulting expenses. So to celebrate this momentous event, I prepared an overview of all that was covered in our 13-episode series, a remarkable feast indeed. So in a nutshell, we've discussed the value of managing spend to create immediate ROI and grow your business. Utilizing cost-efficient consultants can not only help you save money, but also provide the ability to invest in other projects. So to ensure that you're getting the best return from every project and initiative, it's essential to conduct post-performance evaluation as well as collaborate between procurement teams and business lines. And moreover, be sure to write accurate RFPs, manage project closely while keeping tabs on cost. So by embracing our 6-level approach to procurement, you can unlock infinite possibilities and gain a competitive edge. You capitalize on new ideas, create value for your business, and maximize the benefits of consulting services with this powerful technique. So if you missed this episode, have no fear. You can find the podcast on Spotify and iTunes and other podcast platforms. You can also watch it on YouTube on our channel. And for those who prefer reading to listening, head to our website, consultingquest.com, where you will find the transcript of every juicy detail in our thought leadership section. So now welcome to a new series, How to Buy Consulting Services Like a Pro. So we'll be discussing over the course of next week's all things related to procuring consulting services so you can make sure that your team is successful. Learn why it's important for leaders in particular, as well as how procurement should fit into the picture when bringing consultants on board. Plus, we'll talk about the hidden value of using consultant versus not. And don't even get me started on writing the RFP. We've got tips from real buyers who know what they are doing. So buckle up, folks. This series will inspire tangible actions and help save money at the same time. So get ready, it's going to be an adventure. And with no further ado, I'll be exploring when to use consulting services from the perspective of end users. So strategy, operation, marketing, insert your function leaders, and what procurement should know about it. We're going to talk about why and when executives need consulting services. First of all, for all my procurement listeners, let me remind you that it is crucial for you to understand the why and when of executive needs for consulting services. It will help you to anticipate their needs and be more proactive in your sourcing decision. Right? Now that's established, let me examine the first question. When do executives typically work with consultants? So when you've got a decision to make and you don't know where to turn, right? It can be highly beneficial to get another set of eyes on the situation that has no bias or vested interest in their opinion. So when should you consider teaming up with consultants? Here are a few situations where it would make sense. So first case, you enter a new market. You want to expand in new industries and new territories. Second, you want to grow and expand. For instance, your revenue stagnate, or a more powerful competitor strengthen your market share, your sales, or your profitability, or all of the above, actually. You're considering an M&A. You want to grow by acquisition, you want to acquire a competitor, or you want to acquire a technology. You may be looking to improve the quality of your products. You want to break down your process into specific stages and identify potential project improvements. Or maybe you need to reduce costs. You're considering reducing cost and boosting revenue and profitability by applying lean management, lean thinking, lean processes, Six Sigma, all those techniques. Or you want to develop your organization and retain talents. You're thinking to design a new organization, communicate, implement new ways of working, and motivate and inspire your new talents. Or you have to prepare for a leadership change. And you need to transition from one leadership team to the next seamlessly, right? That's a great list, right? But let me dig in further. Executive work with consultants when they want to identify and implement new strategies for growth, when a company wants to acquire or merge, when they want to improve project quality, reduce costs, develop their organization and retain talents, and also leadership changes. However, in many of those cases, there are usually some warning signs that procurement can identify and plan for. And your first step when you hear about such a project is to look at your panel of suppliers and your internal consulting group, if you have one, and determine if the project can be handled in-house or with your usual suppliers. And if not, maybe that's the right time to go and head from new suppliers with relevant expertise. So remember that you must be flexible and open-minded in this process, as the consulting world is constantly evolving and new players are popping up daily. I kid you not. Don't forget to check the latest market trends and use digital tools to source new suppliers. Now, let me come to the next question, which is, how do consultants help their clients? Again, I'm going to give you an overview. The first thing that comes to mind is their technical expertise. So consultants have specialized knowledge in a certain industry or a certain function or capability, and they can provide data-driven insight that help you make better decisions and accelerate problem solving. But it can also be their independent perspective that you're interested in. They can provide an objective and independent view of your project. They will not be biased by previous decisions taken, which can be a huge advantage when you want to have a fresh look at a problem. Or you might be looking for a problem-solving approach. They can help you identify an issue's root causes, develop creative solutions, and recommend implementation plans. Or maybe you're in need of analytical skills and they have a strong analytical mindset and they can bring an evidence-based approach to the problem. They can provide data analysis, market research, financial modeling to support decision-making. It can also that you need temporarily some extra workforce, and consultants can provide additional resources to your teams without having to onboard new employees. And this flexibility is especially helpful when you're dealing with unexpected workloads or tight deadlines. Or you might be looking for coaching for yourself or for your teams, and consultants can provide guidance and advice to teams and mentorship for individuals, and they will help to develop skills, build capacity, and foster an innovative culture. So these are all essential points to consider when engaging in consulting. Now, what else should procurement know? I mentioned before that procurement should anticipate the needs of the clients and look for new supplies in the market. But you should be aware that there are several things that can impact the need and therefore the capabilities and the type of consultant required. And the first one is that the maturity of the function and the team's composition will determine when and how executives work with consultants. So let me give you an example. Imagine a strategic team made of former consultants. They will probably work with consultants on bits and pieces of the strategy cycle, bringing in consultants when they need specific expertise and leading the whole process themselves. But in other companies, the strategy group is a stepping stone for high potential individuals coming from all parts of the company. And they may not have formal training in strategy, and they're in need of external help every step of the way. And the visibility of a given project can also impact what type of consultant will be needed. If the project carries a high profile, you may need to bring in an outside group that's seen as a more credible and prestigious, like MBB or Big Four. But on the other hand, if it's a lower visibility project, a smaller consulting firm may be more suitable. Consulting also is about trust and credibility. So never underestimate the relationship between the project sponsor and the partners. Your internal stakeholders may have consulting firms that they used to work with, or even individuals that they trust. And they follow them from one consulting firm to the next, because there is an emotional component of trust and credibility that goes along with this relationship. Sometimes the needs goes beyond the company interest also. Some executives rely on consultants to increase their influence or to manage their career, And in these cases, the consultant role is much more about being a coach and mentor. So we have covered pretty much all the main parts. But at the end, I will add that it's important to remember that all consultants are not created equal. First, consulting services are not commodities. Remember that when it comes to all industry, quantity and quality vary widely. Don't be seduced by low prices or fancy presentation, but instead do your due diligence and make sure you get the perfect blend of value for money and technical expertise. Make sure that the consultants you consider have the skills you need and that you can afford their services. Also, always look for impact. When it comes to consultant, it can be tempting to focus on the how, on the details, on the approach. But striving for impact is the name of the game. Think improve efficiency, better decision-making, increase engagement, and more. That's true success. Remember, achieving a positive bottom line should always be your goal. And this can actually be great advice for leaders looking to implement a successful consulting project, right? So now let's wrap up and summarize what we have said today. Lots of information. So typically, executives work with consultants when they need to enter a new market, grow and expand, merge and acquire, improve project quality, reduce costs, develop the organization and retain talents, and during leadership changes. And with their technical savvy third-party point of view, analytical capabilities, and more, consultants supply clients with the resources necessary to make well-informed decisions swiftly. Through problem-solving techniques and temporary reinforcement in workforce and coaching services, companies can benefit from a consultant's valuable assistance as they traverse complex challenges. And procurement should anticipate executive needs for consulting services by having a look at a panel of suppliers and internal consulting groups. They should also be flexible in sourcing new suppliers with relevant expertise while keeping up with the latest market trends. And the need for a consultant can be affected by the maturity of an organization function and team composition, as well as how visible the project is. And this will dictate what type and size of consultancies is required, in addition to any existing emotional connections between stakeholders and partners before engaging them. Executives may need to rely on external consultants for a myriad of reasons, such as to increase their influence and manage their career. This requires a mentor coach roles than the traditional consultancy services can provide. So ultimately, it's essential to strike the right balance between value and quality when selecting a consultancy. Leaders may make sure they choose an option that offers not only technical proficiency, but also the best financial value. Indeed, achieving positive outcomes should be the end goal for all stakeholders. So next week, join us for an even more dynamic dive into the fascinating world of consulting. We'll explore how political and technical forces shape its value, as well as some tangible examples to bring it all together. You won't want to miss this thought-provoking series that will put your knowledge up a notch. So make sure you stay tuned in. Till then, stay safe and happy sourcing. And if you have any questions regarding today's topic or any consulting procurement related topic, actually, remember, you can always contact me directly on LinkedIn or by email because I'm always game for a chat. Bye, and see you next week. Au revoir.
You've been listening to Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit the website at consultingquest.com. Find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. For questions and comments, send an email to ellen.lafitte@consultingquest.com. See you next time.